Hey everybody, it's Robert Monroe, and I thought what would be more fun than to get into some sight reading. I'm going to put on some glasses so it's a little bit easier to read, and we are going to read a Bach chorale together. If you have not yet followed and watched my How to Sight Read a Practical Guide, I would highly encourage you to pause this video, go watch that one first, and then come back, because all I'm going to be doing is applying that to this wonderful piece of Bach we will have up on the screen. Now, I have not played this before to my knowledge. I have played a lot of music in my life, so maybe I played at some point, but we're just going to say I have not played this. And what we're going to look at first is going to be the title and the composer. I have already gone over why this is important. I'll briefly mention it here. It gives us information. You want as much information as possible at the beginning. So what we are looking at is BWV 26. If you are familiar with BWV numbers, all those are numbers that are categorizing the list of Bach compositions. There are a few composers that get their special set of numbers versus an opus number that you get generally speaking. So that's what's going on with BWV. Who is Bach? Bach is like the GOAT. If you were going to pick one composer to be like, oh, that's the dude, it probably would be Bach, because he kind of did everything, and almost no one has anything bad to say about Bach, me included. And so we're going to dive in after that. That's title, composer. Oh, couple more specific things instead of just praising Bach. What can we get in details about from Bach? Well, he's Baroque era, so we're going to expect counterpoint. We're going to expect the voices to be going different directions, not always going the same direction. What else can we expect? We're going to expect harmony that makes sense. Now, what does that mean? Well, the certain level of sense is culturally defined, but then there also is this level of sense that is defined by the theoretical relationship of the scales and how those work. And so if you're familiar with Western European classical music, almost by definition, Bach is kind of this cornerstone where all of that stuff rests. You go a bit earlier and you're going to go, that sounds a little bit odd. The later you get, you're going to be like, that sounds a bit odd. You hear Bach, you're going to be like, dude, he's onto something. Exactly. All right, let's get into the key and the time signature. We have 4/4. What does that tell us? We have 4 beats in each measure, and the quarter note is what we're counting. And lo and behold, we look at the first measure, 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 beats. Lovely. Now let's talk about the key signature. First glance, you're going to say C major. And that's not a bad guess, because we have no sharps and no flats. If you know the circle of fifths, you go C major. You're almost correct. But here's the problem. Minor keys share the same key signature as major keys. And you might go, but how can we tell? Well, I've got 2 methods to be able to tell whether this is a major or a minor key. The first is, what is the lowest note at the beginning and end of the song? And if we look here, it's A, and then it's A. I thought we were in C major. If we were in C major, it probably would be C and C. If we just look, for example, at the next song, BWV 262, that has 2 sharps, which is the key signature of D major or B minor. And lo and behold, the first note is D, and the last note is also D. It's probably in D major. Now, that does not give us a foolproof plan. So let's do the double second step to check. And that is going to be, we have G sharps. Why do G sharps matter? Well, if we're in C major, G sharp makes no sense. No sense at all. But if we're in A minor, there's our natural minor. We're cruising along. We're playing pretty music. And then we get here. And it's like the biggest letdown ever. No one likes me. No one's my friend. Or, I'm so emotional. Ooh, oh, now we're cooking. And then we go back. We need that leading tone to lead us back to A. That's what's going on there. Let's get into the song now. we have just talked through. So now we're going to just do a brief glance over. If we look at this, we've got these fermatas regularly. If you're familiar with chorales, you know what that means. It's basically kind of like a phrase marking or a pause marking to make sure that you're kind of lining up all the lyrics and stuff. So we can kind of use those as different goal marks to get to, but we're dealing with 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Wait, wow, why can't I count? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 measures. 10 measures total. They kind of seem to occupy sort of 2 measure phrases, if you will. What do I mean by that? Just 2 measures that go together. So let's start out with 2 measures. And I'm going to act like I am a complete sight reading beginner. So we're going to start with just the very top line. So we're going to use face. We're going to go F-A-C-E. Face is for the spaces in the treble clef. And so we're going to go F-A-C-E. We find the first note's A, and then we're going to go step up, repeat. And then we have that fermata. So we could stay there if we want. We don't have to. Same note again, C again, then D, up again, then E, and then E. Done! We did it! Okay, so again, A, B, C, 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 D, E, E. Piece of cake. Again, if that took you more time, no problem. That is the level you want to stay at. But because we blew through that, we are going to continue on. We're going to look at the lowest line. So what is that? We're going to start on A. A. How do we know it's A? 2 dots, line between the 2 dots, that's base F. A skip above that, A. Boom. And if this stuff is not working for you to track with, it's okay. You probably just need to do a little more digging into how to play your instrument. This is not meant to be how you sight read, period. It's how to get better at sight reading. All right, so we're on A, and then we're going down a step, but then there's the sharp, so G sharp, then back up to A, and then this next thing here, that's an A. How do I know that's an A so fast? Because it's an octave. How do I know it's an octave so fast? Because I know what octaves look like. What do octaves look like? Octaves look like a line to a space or a space to a line with a very large distance, basically the entire span of a staff. So for example, we have the top line and then the lowest space. That's what an octave looks like. So we have our first measure, A, G sharp, A, then A, no G sharp, G, and then this note as well, automatic note you should just know, that's C. Why? Because it's middle C. And then again, if we're used to know how an octave looks, boom, we got that octave there. Okay, we could keep going and learning on this level right now, just single notes. But you probably have picked up by the fact that I'm even making this video. This is all super comfortable, so I want to jump to more of an advanced step. I want to do that, and then I want to try sight reading the whole thing, hopefully make some real mistakes, not staged at all. Again, I have not looked at this before, and then talk you through how you actually problem solve and fix those. Now let's get into 4 voices all at once. So, I'm sorry. Let's go to 2 voices first, then we'll go to 4. So in our right hand, we start out and we had that A. How do we find the lower note? Well, it is the first line. Every good boy does fine. First line would be E. We got E. Play them together. We have E and A now. The cool thing is, if we just look ahead, we can see we just have E's the rest of the time. That is so easy. And then we play the same thing again. And then we have a little bit of work here. We have to go, okay, it's a skip in the bottom and then a step at the top. And then it's the same note all the time in the left, not the left hand, my thumb. All right, let's talk about the left hand here. And then I want to talk about intervals and how intervals can help us. For the left hand, we're going to start with A, but then we have middle C, piece of cake there. And then those are thirds. Now, I said I wanted to talk about intervals in a bit. We're going to talk about intervals right now. Intervals are your best friend when sight reading. The intervals of the notes from one to the next is very important, but also the intervals for the notes as a stack, if you're reading more than one note, is the bee's knees. It's going to make sight reading so easy. So we have 2 notes together here, and then we have thirds again, and then single note, and then an octave. Get familiar with how an octave looks. I'm going to keep being on your case until you get familiar with how an octave looks. Then we go to A again, then we split into thirds again, and then we go up to C, and then octave Cs. All right. Now let's put it together. We're going to do two hands. We're going to go super slow. If you remember my sight reading video, first step, super slow, under control, every note correct, take as much time as you need. All right, we'll get into the second one where we're doing the rhythm and not worrying about the right notes as much, but we're not quite there yet. I want to talk about patterns and I want to talk about chord analysis. Two things that I didn't really get into very much during the sight reading video because, again, all these videos can only be a certain length. I don't want to talk for half an hour, an hour. I just want to give you enough information to pique your curiosity, to hopefully encourage you to practice something that you don't necessarily practice very much. We're going to go to measure 3. And if you notice, the left hand splits into thirds right away and continues as thirds. I don't have to read almost at all. I just have to go, oh, I'm going steps down and steps up. If you had to analyze a person playing the piano's brain and they had electrodes, plugged in everywhere, and they were they were able to tell what they were thinking about. If I had to guess, in almost every case, they would never be thinking about letters. I just don't think they're going to be thinking about letters, except for maybe once in a blue moon. They're going to be going C, okay, there's my letter, but then they're going to be like, oh, split into thirds, thirds down, F sharp, G sharp, A, done. That's what they're going to be thinking about. What is that? That's a pattern. And then sometimes these patterns turn into sequences. So, for example, the melody at the beginning, A, B, C, 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 D, E, E. It's steps up, repeat the same note. Steps up, repeat the same note. Sequence, patterns, huge, huge helps to sight reading. Let's get into now the other framework that I think we really need to understand, which is chords. I am not going to do a deep dive in chords right now. I'm not even going to sprinkle the screen with a bunch of drawings because the point right now is just practical, nitty-gritty. Let's just get some vibes out there. First measure. We go, what in the world harmony is going on here? A minor. A minor. Yep, Drake will be very happy. Oh, and we even get some bubbles going by there because of the iPad, whatever weirdness. All right, then we go to our next chord, E major. And then we go back to A minor. Why does this help us? If we know the notes in A minor, we have A, C, and E. Are we going to play any other notes? No. If we know the notes in E major, E, G sharp, B, then we know which notes we're going to play. We're not going to play any other notes. This level of understanding is making sight reading the easiest thing alive. Like, once you get the intervals down, once you get the patterns and sequences down, once you get the theory down, it is so incredibly easy to sight read. And I'm going to demonstrate that right now. Put my methods to the test. We're going to go straight to the rhythm thing. We're going to pick a fairly aggressive tempo. The point is I want to make some mistakes so we can talk about it. Here we go. I'm going to count before I start. Very good practice if you're doing rhythm work to keep that rhythm going so you know how you're approaching it. 1, 2, here we go. . 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, 48, 49, 50, 51, 52, 53, 54, 55, 56, 57, 58, 59, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64, 65, 66, 67, 68, 69, 70, 71, 72, 73, 74, 75, 76, 77, 78, 79, 80, 81, 82, 83, 84, 85, 86, 87, 88, 89, 90, 91, 92, 93, 94, 95, 96, 97, 98, 99, 100, 101, 102, 103, 104, 105, 106, 107, 108, 109, 110, 111, 112, 113, 114, 115, 116, 117, 118, 119, 120, 1 All right, I got my mistakes that I wanted, and let's talk through a few of them. The first big mistake I think was in measure 4. Let's set that up a little bit. Part of that was this leap in the left hand. Technically, I can play that, but I wasn't really set up for it, so it caught me off guard. So I really should have been ready with my right hand to play that. So now that I know it... Oh, let's do this right. The other thing that caught me off guard is the C sharp. I was just not expecting it. All right, let's keep going on. If you notice, just going a little bit slower is helping me. Having played it once helps me. There's a lot going on harmony-wise here. This, very unusual. We got an E half diminished 7th chord. That is taking my ears by surprise a little bit. So it's a little unusual, so it's a little bit hard for me to be ready with my hands to play. Now that I know it's coming, though... Also that F sharp there. Again, unexpected, but now I'm ready for it. This one I nailed right away. Big change to the C major. Again, this 4th. The 4ths are killing me. Oh. And then this also. I did not expect a minor 9th in my Bach chorale. That's considered kind of a big no-no when you're learning how to write music and write counterpoint. But again, Bach, he can break all the rules. This also caught me super off guard, the D sharp here. All right, now that I've gone through this and gotten some of those details out of the way, let's try it again. I think I played two wrong notes there. But I'm really pretty happy with that. If I played that for a service or for some reason, like this was a prelude or something, I wouldn't have any problem with it. If I was playing it for a recital, I think I'd be a little bummed. And of course, I would spend more time on it there. Again, we've only spent a few minutes and you can see what's possible. What are some takeaways from what you just watched? The takeaways are: start simple, start small, start with all the details and all the things you can help yourself with. The title, the composer, the key signature, the time signature. What do you know about patterns? What do you know about sequences? What do you know about intervals? What do you know about harmony? And then use that. Apply everything you know to help yourself, give yourself an edge, and then start approaching it. Once you really get rolling, though, and maybe you make a few mistakes here or there, it's okay. Analyze them. Go, why? Why did I mess up there? And if you can't give yourself a cogent reason why, this is where you probably would be good to have a teacher of some sort, because that why step is so important. I'm Robert Monroe. I hope you found this video interesting. I hope this helped. I'm planning on making more of these where I really take what I've been telling you to do and show you how to do it. If you enjoyed this, please like it. Also comment and tell me what else you would like to see me do. And until next time, have a great day.